Morning, everyone. All of you. I think the last subject that you had in your IBC was what? GS-2, right? Okay. So tell me, in GS-2, for how many questions did you practice answer writing? How many questions did you discuss? PYQs, tell me. From the year 2013 till 2025, am I right? So do you have any number of questions for which you wrote answers or discussed questions? Number? 500. Be that as it may, I think we can say sufficiently it was 300 plus, something like this. All of you are following me? When you were discussing this 300 plus questions, do you think each and every question was very different from each other, or did it follow some pattern? It followed some pattern. Am I right or am I wrong? So when you look into ethics, it's more or less the same. From 2013 till 2025 and hopefully in the future as well. Given the nature of prelims paper 2026, it might be difficult to predict exactly what might happen. However, in mains, the level of unpredictableness, generally speaking, is less. So when I take into consideration, even in your ethics, there are themes plus sub-themes based on which they keep asking you questions quite regularly. So you don't have to worry about it. All of you are following me? In our classes, we'll try to make sure some 200 to 300 questions we will practice along with 50 plus case studies. Whatever current affairs needs to be discussed, we will do it. And more importantly, what we want to achieve here is, I want you to practice answer writing, as much of answer writing as possible in the class. All of you are following me? You should have the ability to answer a question, section A question, within 7 minutes and section B question within 15 minutes. As far as I'm concerned, one of the greatest challenge in ethics paper is to complete. If you look at 2022, one of the longest paper, that year many individuals were unable to complete the question paper only. Another greatest challenge in ethics is not only completing the paper, but giving a reasonable answer to all the questions. You might have faced this in your earlier mains. Anyone here who has written mains last time around? Previously? One person. What was your score in ethics at that point in time? 98. How many mains have you written, sir? Only one. When was this? 23. Okay, not a problem. So when you look into your mains, initial few questions will be writing good answers. But as the time progresses, the quality of the answers, it decreases. So my goal is, you need to complete the paper, and the other important goal is, you need to write a reasonably good answer for each and every question. I want you to complete the question paper in such a way that there is still 5 minutes to spare. It's possible. It's not difficult. Don't worry. Am I making my point clear? And now, coming to the course as such, you very well know that this is a crash course. So I hope you have some amount of knowledge of ethics, some amount of knowledge. In case if you have no knowledge, you have not done your foundation course, that's fine, that's okay. But I'm pretty sure if you have not done your foundation course, you might have some problems. you might have some doubts. Write down your doubts and we will discuss them after the class in a very patient manner. Am I making my point clear? In case if any doubt exists. Am I making my point clear? All of you. Good enough. So let's start with the first chapter. What is the first chapter? Ethics and human interface. Under this ethics and human interface, you have some more sub-themes. What are these sub-themes? First one, essence of ethics. The second one, determinants of ethics. The third one, dimensions of ethics. One of the most important sub-themes in this chapter, consequences of ethics. And finally, you have ethics in public and private relationship. Private relationship. All right. Now look at here. The first thing that I want you to do is have an understanding of the keywords, important terms. What are the important terms that we have over here? You tell me. First and foremost is what? Now look into this. Here they have given the name as human interface. Why have they chosen human interface? Why not use some other word? You need to have some clarity about it. Look at other keywords. This is the first one. Second, essence. Third one, determinants 4, dimensions 5, consequences 6. Public and private relationship, it's a reasonable topic. Not many questions have come on it directly. Most of the times, questions will come from these two. Which are these two? Dimensions of ethics and consequences of ethics in human action. Most of the time, the questions will come from here. There is one more key term. Consequences of ethics in human actions. So we need to have an idea what exactly is a human action. Having clarity on these keywords, it really helps. All of you are following me? So what we will do as of now, we'll take each and every keyword, discuss it, and then move along to any PYQs asked in this chapter from 2013 till 2025. All of you are following me? Come back here. Look into this. Ethics. Now the term ethics, it comes from a Greek term called as ethos. Ethos. Now this term ethos, it can have various interpretations in the English language, various interpretations. So this term Greek ethos, it might be called as character in English. It might be called as custom. It might be referred to a certain way of life, or it might be called as a habit. All of you are following me? So the term ethics, it originates from the Greek term ethos. It has various interpretations in English called as character, custom, way of life, habit. Look at each of this thing, each of this term. Imagine an individual called as Abraham Lincoln. Imagine an individual called as Abraham Lincoln. What was Abraham Lincoln known for? For which activity? He was known for abolition of slavery. Now, behind abolition of slavery, can you tell me what was the underlying value which prompted him to abolish slavery? For example, let me simplify. When I talk about Indian independence movement, what were the underlying values under your Indian independence movement? Non-violence, satyagraha, truth. Can I say like that? Likewise, when I take abolition of slavery, what were the underlying values below it? Can I say justice? Good. Equality? Good. Can I say a certain level of compassion as well? All of you are following me? Certain level of compassion. So to give effect to these values, he abolished slavery. All of you are following me? Listen to me. I'll come back to ethics. Let's first discuss values. Now, values, you yourself told me examples of them: justice, courage, compassion, like that. What are values? Values are basically your core beliefs, ideas. Values are your preferences or priorities which determine how you think and act. So what was the value that Gandhi was famous for? Non-violence, peace. And he reflected this non-violence, he reflected his peace in everything that he thought and everything that he did. Am I right or am I wrong? All of you are following me. Now let's go back to this one. Abraham Lincoln, he had a core value system of compassion, justice, equality. To give effect to this value, he abolished slavery, which was just a thought or which was an action. My dear friends, when you use your value system and reciprocate that in your actions continuously, consistently, 24/7, 365 days, 366 in a leap year, that is when we tell you have a strong character. Am I making my point clear? Abraham Lincoln was very famously called as Honest Abe. Very good. Why was he called as Honest Abe? Because he followed a value called as truth. And he showcased this truth only in his thoughts, only in his words, or in his actions. He showcased it in his actions and he showcased it consistently, not just on a Monday. He showcased it consistently. That is why we say Abraham Lincoln has what type of a character? Honest character. What do we call it as? Honest. So here, when someone asks you what is ethics, it originates from a Greek term called as ethos. That ethos can have various interpretations. One is character. Let us say they ask you what is character. What will your answer be? Character is nothing but values and actions consistently throughout your life. Can I say that? Simple enough. Your UPSC, in the coming mains, they might ask you a question. What do you understand by the term values and character? All of you are following me. They might ask you a term called as what? What do you understand by the terms values and character? Values are like the broad thing or like the foundation? Foundation. Values are the foundation. When you showcase those values in your actions consistently, that is when it becomes character. Am I making my point clear? Like this. Look at one more term here. Ethics can also mean what? Custom. It might be sort of like a tradition. It might be sort of like a rule that you follow in your life. For example, in Indian customs, do we take care of our parents even after we turn 18, or do we stop taking care? We take care, am I right? When you go back to your American custom and see, they might love their parents, I'm not denying it. But after they turn 18, usually they live behind their parents and they want to set up their own life independently. Am I right? Am I wrong? Artha kriyata nahi. So ethics can be a set of customs which might indicate what you're supposed to do. Am I making my point clear? Ethics might be a set of customs, it might be a set of rules which will indicate what should be done by you, what is considered as a right or a wrong action. Artha kriyata nahi? All of you. What is the other term that they have over here? It is also called as a way of life. How you think, how you act, anything that you do comes under way of life. For example, in our society, speaking urban society, do we look at the nature as if it is an end in itself, or do we look at the nature in urban society from a selfish point of view? Selfish point of view, am I right or am I wrong? Now similarly, if you go to a tribal society, and in that tribal society, when a tribal looks at nature, will he or she look at the nature from a selfish point of view, or will he or she look at the nature from a selfless, end in itself point of view? Selfless. Am I making my point clear? Way of life. Everything which is done by a human being under the sun can be clubbed under way of life. Artha kriyata nahi? Do you think the way of life of your parents and your way of life in the present times, are they same or are they different? They're quite different. Now, if the same way of life continues, there won't be any problem. But when there are differences in way of life, do you think it is going to lead in harmonious interaction, or do you think it might create some conflict? Conflict, am I right or am I wrong? We'll discuss all these things later on, but I just wanted to give you some understanding of the keywords. Ethics can mean character, you understood it. Ethics can be customs, you understood it. Ethics can also be way of life. What is the other thing? Habits. Now, habits and hobbies, are they same or are they different? Habits and hobbies, are they same or are they different? Tell me. Different, am I right? What is a hobby? Something that you do every day or once in a while? Once in a while. What would be the purpose behind a hobby? It might be pleasure, it might be stress relief, like this. Am I right or am I wrong? What is a habit? Something that you do, like a routine, even at times in an unconscious, subconscious manner. You guys agree with me? Most of you might have a habit of staying up late and studying. Some of you might have a habit of waking up early. Even if the alarm is not set, you might have a habit of waking up around 5 or 6 a.m. Am I right or am I wrong? Like this. All of you are following my point? Habit are a set of activities that you do in a routine manner, in a subconscious way, without someone pushing you to do it. That is a habit. All of you are following me? These things will help you. When you are writing mains, this time around or next time, whenever it is, you need to have clarity on how to generate the dimensions. Let us say they ask you a question. What does ethics seek to promote in human life? Simple question. They've already asked one question like this. So I'm bringing up that question here. Let us say they ask you, what does ethics seek to promote in human life? Look at the terms here. Ethics seeks to promote what? Strong character. Ethics seeks to promote the right customs. Ethics seeks to promote the right way of life which might lead us towards happiness, contentment, peace, like that. Ethics might help us to develop or cultivate good habits. Here itself you have quite a few points. Am I right or am I wrong? See, coming to the class, understanding the concept is not the difficult thing. The difficult thing is having a pen and paper, having the PYQs or any other mock question in front of you and writing an answer, a reasonable answer for it within 7-8 minutes. Am I right or am I wrong? That's where the greatest challenge is. So whenever I'm giving you lectures like this, make some running notes. I'll also give you dictations, not to worry. Am I making my point clear? But remember these dimensions. You can use it in your answers wherever it is necessary. Come back. So ethos can mean 4 different things: character, custom, way of life, habits. Now all of these things, character, custom, way of life, ethics, they try to teach you to do what? Is it the right thing, or do they teach you to do the wrong thing? What is it that they want us to do? Right thing. All right. So listen to me. Ethics originates from the Greek term ethos, which can mean character, custom, way of life, habits. Comma. It tries to encourage us, it tries to give a blueprint to lead a good life, to adopt a right action. Like that you can write. Remember, the term good and the term action, are they same or are they different? Good and right, are they same or are they different? Imagine I'm writing like this. Good and right, are they same or are they different? Different. But come, can you tell me what is the difference? Good is usually associated with intention, good intention, bad intention. Right is usually associated with a action. Am I making my point clear? All of you. Good intention, right action. This is some basic difference between good and right. All of you come back. So ethics is that branch of philosophy. Ethics is that branch of philosophy. This is another definition. Ethics is that branch of philosophy which concerns itself in leading a good life. Good life. This is what you can write. Am I making my point clear? Simple enough. They've asked questions like this. What do you understand by the term ethics and values? Values, again, I'll go back to it again. Don't worry. All of you are following me. If they ask you what do you understand by the term ethics, you have that origin of term ethics. Another one is what? Ethics is that branch of philosophy which helps us to lead a good life. That's it. All of you are following me. Now there is a word of caution to you here. In section A, you will have 13 questions going by the last few years pattern. Each and every question is worth how many marks? 10 marks. 130. They can change this. They can increase it to 12.5 or 15. That's up to them. We have no idea what it is. So whenever I see those students who are going to write their answers in the upcoming mains or maybe later on, what they do is, they go for definition of ethics in each and every question. Don't do that. Maybe some questions you can define what is ethics. Don't define ethics in each and every question because it is easy to do so. All of you are following me? We have had students who have scored 122, 126 in ethics, OGP students only. When I look at their answers, they use the definition of ethics in some questions, and in other questions they go for diverse introduction. I'll teach you how to give the diverse introduction later. Don't make it a habit of writing the definition of ethics in each and every question. That's not going to work out. Did you understand this definition? All of you. First is what? Ethics originates from the Greek term ethos, which means character, custom, way of life, habits. This ethos, this ethics tries to help you to lead what type of a life? A good life. Have you heard of a guy called as Aristotle? What does he say? The highest good in life is what? To achieve what? Eudaimonia, eudaimonic happiness. What is eudaimonic happiness? I'll teach you later. Aristotle believes the highest good in life is to achieve eudaimonic happiness. Highest good. He does not use the term highest right. Good is intentions. All of you are following me? Come back, come back. Look at this guy. His name is Peter Singer. Now this Peter Singer, he has given you a definition, and that definition is very simple. Ethics is about how we ought to live and, all of you are following me? How we ought to live and act. Is it a very difficult thing to understand, or is it a reasonable thing to understand? How we ought to live and act. All of you are following my point? How you are supposed to think, how you are supposed to speak, how you are supposed to engage in actions. That is what he believes the study of ethics is all about. All of you are following me? So you have one definition of ethics from origin of the term. You have another technical definition of ethics. Ethics is that branch of philosophy concerning itself with what is good and what is right. Another is a opinion of a thinker as per Peter Singer. Ethics is about how we ought to live and act. This is it. But my favorite definition of ethics is basically given by a lady called as Ayn Rand. And listen to me. Now what does she say, Ayn Rand? She says ethics is nothing but a set of values. Ethics is nothing but a set of values and principles. Ethics is nothing but a set of values and principles that guide us, in choosing, or making choices, choosing actions that determines the purpose and course of our life, of our ethics is nothing but a set of values and principles that help us to make choices, choose actions, choices and actions that determine the purpose and course of our life. All of you are following me? I'll try to simplify it, not a problem. So here, Ayn Rand, she's saying what? Ethics is a set of values. Let us say some X person, he has values like what? Courage. He has values like what? Humility. He has values like what? Justice. Values like empathy. This X person has. Now imagine this. Using this set of values, he is going to take or going to choose the best possible choice among A, B and C. For example, imagine you're working in an organization. The boss of that organization, he comes to you and he says, You need to sign on this file. You need to give your signature on this file. If you don't give your signature, I'm going to fire you. And I'm going to make sure that you will never get a job anywhere again. All of you are following me. So let us say the guy who is in question is X. Now X has, let us say, two choices in front of him. One is to do what? Sign. Another one is to do what? Not sign. There can be another option. He can do what? Report. Run away, na? Report. Like this, there might be other choices. Now, which choice he might choose, it directly depends on what? His value systems. Am I making my point clear? Is there a relationship between ethics and values? Values are like atoms. These are fundamental entities. Am I making my point clear? Based on your value system, you choose the best possible choice. You choose the best possible action. And these choices and action, they determine the purpose of your life. Purpose means what? Purpose means what? What is the purpose of your life? Imagine I ask you a question. What is the purpose of your life? What is the purpose of a candle? To light the world when it is dark. What is the purpose of a fish? To swim. What is the purpose of a bird? To fly. Likewise, what is the purpose of your life? Sorry, go ahead. Lead a good life. Simple enough. Am I making my point clear? So here ethics comes into picture when you use your value system, when you use your principles in life and choose the right choices, choose the right actions that determine the purpose and course of your human life. I give this very famous example in my classes. During 1922, when Chauri Chaura incident happened, Gandhi had a choice to continue with the movement. Gandhi also had a choice to suspend the movement. Am I right? Many people criticize Gandhi for suspending the movement. You have studied about this in your modern India history classes as well. Why do you think he suspended the movement in that situation? Because his value, it was directing, it was deviating towards violence or non-violence. And Chauri Chaura was what type of an incident? Violent situation. Am I making my point clear? Like this. Values are very fundamental. Using these fundamental values, we build on our ethics. So I want you to be aware of a definition where ethics and values, both of them come together. As per Ayn Rand, ethics is nothing but a set of values and principles that guide us in choosing the best possible choices and actions that determine the course and purpose of our human life. Why do I want you to be aware of a definition which has both ethics and values in it? Because in a PYQ, they have asked this question, what do you understand by the term ethics and values? So over there, don't write as per Ayn Rand. Don't write as per Peter Singer or as per Aristotle. Here they are asking you explicitly what? What do you understand? So whatever you have understood, you should be able to put it across in your own words. You should not try to quote any individuals there. All of you are following me? Let us say, now I ask you a question. What do you understand by the term values and what will I do first? Which one will I define first? Values or ethics? Let's start with the foundational, basic one. Which one is that? Values. Values are core beliefs that make us who we are. Did you understand this statement? All of you. Now, when you use these values, to navigate the practical challenges you come across in life, that is what is ethics. All of you are following me? When you use those values to navigate the practical challenges in life, that is what is called as ethics. What was the practical challenge that Gandhi felt in 1922? Whether to continue with your movement or whether to suspend the movement. Am I making my point clear? Like this. Imagine Turkey, which has been quite critical of India in international forums on several situations. The same Turkey, when it saw an earthquake, one of the first few countries to help Turkey was who? India. Now, why do you think India helped Turkey in that situation? India could have taken revenge. India did not do it. Because in that situation, our ethics was determined by the value of what? Compassion, humanitarian aid, humanitarian assistance. You guys agree with me? Simple enough. You might have the value systems in life. I'm not denying it. You have the great value systems in life. Honesty, courage, you have it in abundance. But the problem with our life is, whatever value system we have, the ability to which we can apply to a practical situation in life, is that stronger or is that weaker? We have values in us, but whenever a situation comes in front of us, whenever we are part of any circumstances and then we have to take a stand, we have to take a decision, we have to give out our opinion, are we good at that or are we weak in that? Am I right or am I wrong? You guys agree with me? Just in front of you, there might be some injustice happening. You might have courage in you. You might have an understanding of what is justice. But in that practical situation, maybe because of fear or any other considerations, you just keep silent and you just move along. Am I right or am I wrong? So next time when they ask you, what do you understand by the term values and ethics? You're just going to give them an answer. Values are core beliefs that help us to think and act. When these values are used to choose the best possible course of action to navigate any practical challenges, that is when ethics is born. So did you understand what does ethics mean? All of you. You have a origin-based definition, you have your standard textbook-based definition, you have your opinions of some thinker-based definition, you have a comparison of values and ethics-based definition. There is one more thing that you can do. Usually what happens, they compare ethics to certain things. They compare ethics to a lighthouse. What does a lighthouse do? You tell me. It gives us a sense of direction. Very good. They compare ethics to a pole star. What does pole star do? Again the same thing. They also compare ethics to a compass. Why? Direction. Ethics is like that lighthouse that gives us the direction in our life so as to move in the right way, so as to achieve the highest good. Like this also you can write. All of you are following me? Here you are using metaphors, here you are using imageries to give the definition of. And these are the most popular metaphors used. You can use other metaphors as well. Ethics is like that sun. Without that sun, can there be a life on this planet? No, right? Am I making my point clear? Simple. All of you are following me? So this is what many people say. Introducing using 5 different methods. I'll talk about it in a detailed manner later on. But did you understand these imageries? All of you? But come. Will you use the same definition in all 13 questions or will you try to be diverse? And there will be some questions where you don't have to start with a definition, where you can start with other approaches. I'll teach you later. But nevertheless, I hope you understood what is Now from 2013, listen to me all. From 2013 till 2025 and what I guess will be later on as well. Your UPSC, it considers ethics and morality to be different or to be same. It consider it to be same. It consider it to be same. Am I making my point clear? Till today, they have not asked the question, differentiate between the term ethics and morality. Till today, they have not asked the question, what do you understand by ethics and morality? But in case if they do, I want you to be ready. As far as I know, as far as I have seen, for UPSC, ethics and morality are interchangeable. Interchangeable. They are used in a synonymous manner. I hope you know what is synonymous. Am I making my point clear? Same to same. Look into this. However, in case if they ask you a question, differentiate between ethics and morality. Ethics is from which language? Origin? This morality, this mores, is from Latin language. What you used to call as ethics in Greek language, it came to be called as morality in which language? Latin. All of you are following me? Now what happened was, till 1960s, till 1970s, ethics and morality were one and the same. No differences. But in 1960s and 70s, industrial revolution started to pick pace. The pace of industrial revolution, it started to increase. Am I making my point clear? It started to increase. Then you saw ethics and morality to be used in a different manner by some thinkers. Until 1960s and 70s, ethics and morality were one and the same. Since 1960s and 70s, ethics came to be associated with collective standards. Collective means what? Just few people or a great number of people? Great number. Morality came to be associated with individual standards. Am I making my point clear? That is why whenever we call or whenever we associate some standards to a profession, do I call it as professional morality or do I call it as professional ethics? Professional. For example, medical ethics, lawyer ethics, AI ethics, media ethics, like this it continues. Am I right? Collective standards. Whenever I talk about individuals, these days, people use what term? Ethics or morality? Morality. Am I making my point clear? All of you. So from 1960s and 70s, ethics started to be used from which angle? A collective angle, a professional angle. Morality started to be used from an individual angle. All of you are following me? This basic understanding of difference between ethics and morality is reasonable enough. Where do you think a person's culture, upbringing, will have more influence? Will it be in the ethical or will it be in the morality standards? Like this. Did you understand? All of you. Come back. Listen to me. Now, if you remember the syllabus, apart from ethics, this part we have discussed. Ethics part done. Ethics and what is the name of the chapter? Human interface. Now, what is interface? You tell me, what is interface? Point of contact, good. Anything other than that? Interface, it basically means how you interact between two individuals with others. Am I making my point clear? That is interface. So, you know, Microsoft has its own interface. Apple has its own interface. Am I right or am I wrong? For example, when you are having a conversation with a computer understands only one language which has two alphabets. What are those two alphabets? Very good. But if you start talking in zeros and ones, we will be here forever. So what we do is, between a human being, all right, between a human being, between a computer, there is an interface. All right. That is what I'm talking about here. Ethics and human interface, it refers to the values, it refers to the attitude, it refers to the emotions using which we interact with the whole world. We take decisions in this world. Am I making my point clear? When they ask you, what is ethics and human interface? You're just supposed to answer, ethics and human interface, it refers to the value system we use. It refers to the attitudes that we have, or it refers to the emotions that we have in terms of how we interact with the larger world. All of you are following me? You might be aware that some people are vegetarian, some people are non-vegetarian. Should I call this as their personal ethics, or should I call this more technically as their individual morality? Very good, very good, very good. Am I making my point clear? So a person who has this individual morality of seeing that eating non-veg food is not good, the way he is going to interact with the world, he is going to stand for his opinion. Am I making my point clear? All of you. Imagine, instead of having the right set of values, instead of having the positive attitudes, instead of having positive emotion, someone uses everything which is wrong. How will be their interface with the larger world? Will it be good or will it be bad? It will be bad. Am I right or am I wrong? Some years ago, UPSC had asked a question. A man without ethics is like a wild beast loosed upon this world. A man without ethics is like a wild beast loosed upon this world. What does it mean? Imagine Harshad Mehta. Imagine your Osama bin Laden. These were people who were highly smart, who were highly intelligent. Am I right or am I wrong? But when they interfaced with the world, when they interacted with the world, did they have a good set of values, a great set of attitudes, and a great set of emotions, or was it on the negative side? So when you have such type of a system and then you're interfacing with the larger world, there is no humanity which is being upheld. There is no humanity which is becoming stronger, but rather what is happening? The world is becoming much more cruel. You guys agree with me? Yesterday I was teaching this in the essay classes. In your American Declaration of Independence, they've used terms such as life, liberty, and what is the other thing? Pursuit of happiness. How we have used in our preamble equality, liberty, fraternity, justice. Likewise in American Declaration of Independence, what are the terms that they've used? Life, liberty, and what is the third one? Pursuit of happiness. Imagine an individual when interfacing with the larger world, he doesn't have these values, attitude, and emotions that we're talking about. Do you think the world is going to be a happy place? Do you think our pursuit of happiness will it become easier or will it be difficult? It will be difficult. Why is it that we have created a constitution? The constitution, it acts like an interface. Based on this interface, you are supposed to govern. Based on this interface, you need to interact with others. Based on this interface, you need to follow your duties, rights, DPSPs and whatnot. Am I right or am I wrong? Imagine there was no constitution at all. Imagine this interface was completely missing. What do you think will happen to Indian country, Indian society? Will there be chaos or will there be stability in that situation? Simple. Did you understand what does ethics and human interface mean? Pakkam. No problem. Imagine you are sitting in your prelims or in your mains and they have asked you a question. They have given you a case study. In that particular case study, let us say it is about some stand-up comedian. Am I making my point clear? You might be aware of the recent controversies related to stand-up comedy. Let us say in mains or maybe in the interview, they ask you a question. What is your opinion about all this issue, all this controversy? All of you are following me? How will you answer it? Any comedy, any arts, should it make fun at the cost of humanity, or should it be within that humane angle? What do you think? Should it make fun at the cost of humanity, or should it be within that Lakshman Rekha? Lakshman Rekha, that constitutional Rekha, that ethical parameter. So when I saw whatever happened in that Pranit More incident, that moral parameter was breached in every which way possible. Be it the guy who gave that comment or be it the woman as well. And the comedian who was there on that stage at that point in time, as an artist, he has a moral responsibility to criticize such opinions. He did not criticize it. So there is a fault. And he has also apologized for his mistake. Am I right or am I wrong? Whether you accept his apology or not, that is up to you. I don't care. When I go to interview, or let us say they've given a case study, and it is based on arts. Some person who was part of some stand-up comedy, he has done something like this. What is your perception on this? Even a comedian, even an artist, when he is interfacing with a larger world, with a larger audience, there is certain amount of moral parameter which is expected to be maintained. You can't violate this parameter. You can't compromise on this parameter, because there is an inherent duty in all of us to follow this. Am I right or am I wrong? Do you remember your Kargil war? When did Kargil war happen? 1999, very good. In 1999, what happened was Kargil war is going on. There are some journalists who are going to the forward areas. You know what are forward areas? These are the areas where battles are going on, our preparation are going on, forward areas. Some journalists have gone and they are directly showcasing what is happening in the border area. Now a person sitting on the other side of the boundary, other side of the border, they are looking at all of these shows and they are making necessary preparations on their side. Is this a legal or an illegal thing? We have no clarity here. All right, you have no clarity. Now keep your legality, illegality aside. Just talk about morality. Was it moral on part of the journalist to go to the forward area and on a live basis discuss the strategies of the army? Do you think it was moral on their part or was it immoral? The same thing happened even during 26/11 attacks. Our commandos are going to the Taj and Nariman House and all these things, and whatever entry point we are trying to achieve, whatever commandos have gone in, whatever instructions they are relaying to us, we are discussing it out in the open public. People sitting in Pakistan, they were looking at these live shows and they were instructing the terrorists. Am I telling you something which is imaginary or something which happened in reality? Reality, right? Whether it is legal or illegal, I don't care. It was immoral. Am I making my point clear? It was immoral. Because when you interface with the world, as a journalist, as a celebrity, as a teacher, whomsoever it might be, there are a certain amount of values, emotions and attitudes you are supposed to showcase so that the humanity is upheld. All of you following me? Humanity is upheld. And Immanuel Kant, one of the greatest thinkers ever to be born on this planet, he gives a very beautiful thing. In law, you are guilty. When you commit an action, when you commit a crime, in ethics, you are guilty just because you're thinking it. Am I making my point clear? If you're thinking here to take some revenge on someone else, you're already guilty in ethics. If you commit an action where you have taken a revenge by hitting a person, murdering a person or whatever it might be, then you're guilty in law. So which one places more burden on you, more burden of responsibility? Is it law or is it ethics? It is ethics. And look at us. Why is it that in our country, generally speaking, the happiness is on the lesser side? Development is on the lesser side, because as and when the time progresses, we need to become more ethical. We are not becoming more ethical. We are following laws because of the fear of it, not because we respect it, not because we are ethical. An ethical person does not require any law, rules and regulations to direct him. An unethical person, even if there is a law, do you think he is going to follow that law, or do you think he is going to search for some loophole? That is why Dr. B.R. Ambedkar very famously told, even a great constitution can be futile or useless if it is implemented by unethical people. Even a bad constitution can create something good if the people who are implementing it are good. Am I making my point clear? So, very simply they have given ethics and human interface. No direct questions have come on ethics and human interface in section A, but in section B, in each and every case study, there is that ethics and human interface. Am I making my point clear? Imagine tomorrow you become an officer, you are having conversation with someone who has come to you for some help. Will you interface with that person in a very aggressive language? Or will you interface with that person in a humane manner, in an ethical manner? You tell me. In a humane and ethical manner. So did you understand why they have given the name of the first chapter as ethics and human interface? What is ethics and human interface? The way we interface, interact with others, keeping in mind our value system, keeping in mind our attitudes and our emotions. What is the purpose in this interface? To uphold what? Humanity. Am I making my point clear? That's it. So did you understand ethics and human interface? All of you. Come back, come back. One more keyword is there. Look into this keyword. It's called as essence. What is the meaning of this term essence? Can anyone tell me? What is the meaning of the term essence? You know this. It is the core quality. It is the core quality of anything. It can be a person, it can be an object, or anything else in this word, or anything else in this word. That is essence. What is the essence of Indian economy? What is the essence of Indian economy? Go ahead. You know the answer. Don't be afraid. What is the core quality of Indian economy? Sorry, sir. Diverse what? Can I say one of the core qualities or essence of Indian economy is to promote welfareism? Socialism. Okay, fine. Did you understand? What is the essence of Indian Constitution? You tell me, what is the essence of Indian Constitution? Sorry, sir. Sorry, madam. Uphold rule of law. Okay. Other than that, social justice, good. The essence of Indian Constitution lies that it is a living document. It is a blend of rigidity and flexibility. Things like this you have studied in your static classes of polity, if I am not wrong. Am I making my point clear? Essence. What is the essence of ethics? Essence of ethics is very simple. Essence of ethics is basically to help you lead a good life. That is essence of ethics. What is essence of ethics? To lead good life. So how to reach this good life? Through your thoughts. How to convert these good thoughts into words. How to convert these words into right actions so that you achieve the good life. That is what is essence of ethics. Am I making my point clear? Open your 2024 PYQ ethics paper, please. 2024. 2024. I don't think I've sent you a document related to PYQ classification I've made. By end of today, you'll have the document with you. Not to worry. All right. Look into the 2024 document. Is there any question which they have asked based on essence of ethics indirectly, not directly, indirectly? Look at the first few questions itself. What is essence of ethics? To think good, to speak good, and to act good as well. Is there any question in 2024 based on this? Is there any question on war? 2024 ethics demands not only that we think good but also speak good. Not only speak good but act good, something like that. Is there a question like that? Yes or no? If it is not there in 2024, possibly it will be there in 2025. In the initial few questions itself, you might find it. It is there. 2A. So look at first part, 2A question. Read that question. Can anyone read it out loud? So what's your name here? Check. Yes, sir. Mayur. Can you read out that question, Mayur? Just a second. It is not enough to talk about peace. One must believe in it. Continue, sir. Yes, wait. It is not enough to believe in it. One must act on it. Now continue. Oh, good enough. Now the first part of the question, I hope you understood. What is the essence of ethics? Is it to only think good or speak good as well? It is only to think, speak, or is it to act as well? You know that. Now they have taken that essence of ethics question and they have combined it with what is happening in the international arena. Now there are many manufacturing companies, especially in your weapon industries. You have your Dassault. Dassault manufactures which famous jet fighter? Rafale. Then you have Lockheed Martin. Am I right or am I wrong? Your F-14, 15, 16, I hope you have read about it. Then you also have your defense manufacturing industries in your Russia, MiG-21, Flying Coffin, MiG-29, Sukhois. Do you remember that? So if you look at Russia-Ukraine war, which is happening as of now, it is much more longer than your World War I these days. In this Russia-Ukraine war, Israel, Palestine, Iran, whatever it might be, who do you think is happy? The common people are happy or major manufacturing industries? Manufacturing industries, because for them more money. More conflict means more money for them. Whether someone dies or does not die, that is secondary for them. Am I right or am I wrong? So here they have used essence of ethics and they have combined it with ethics in international relations. As you go forward in your ethics paper or even in your GS-1, 2, 3, any paper as far as I am concerned, they are going to mix two different concepts from two different chapters and they can ask you a question. And if you look at 2024 paper, does it appear as if it is a short paper or on the longer side? They're on the longer side. All of you following me? What is the thought behind all these manufacturing industries pushing more weapons on us? What is the thought behind them? Is it the welfare of the people or is it profit? Am I making my point clear? What could be the other thoughts or other considerations why these weapon industries are pushing? Because the more someone is dependent on their weapons, the more they can use them as a means to their own selfish end. Am I right or am I wrong? Imagine I'm India, I'm dependent on some Russia or some USA for my weapons or some Israel for my weapons. They can use me as a tool to serve their purposes when the time comes. Am I right or am I wrong? Imagine I'm USA, do you think they will be happy if India becomes Atmanirbhar Bharat, or do you think India must be dependent on them? Because that gives them more power. Am I making my point clear? This. All of you are following me. Now this time around, they might not ask about your weapon industries, but they might ask about these AI industries. You're seeing about Google, Gemini. your OpenAI's ChatGPT. Even China has its own version called as DeepSeek, if I'm not wrong. Perplexity. You might have heard of this Claude Mythos. Now they made a certain version of Mythos accessible to everyone. Within a matter of few days, the US government came out with a policy saying that this Mythos cannot be sold to any other company in the world. Am I right or am I wrong? All of you agree with me? So they might ask a question based on this. It is not only enough to believe in it, one must speak. It is not only enough to speak on it, one must act on it. In the context of rising AI wars or threats posed by certain AI models, what are the ethical considerations behind the actions of these companies? They might ask like this. You need to be ready. What is the thought process behind Claude Mythos? What is the thought process behind ChatGPT? DeepSeek. Now China came out with its own model, DeepSeek. If you go to this Chinese model of DeepSeek and you ask the Chinese model, tell me about Tiananmen Square protest. Do you think the Chinese DeepSeek will be giving you an honest answer, or will it be controlling the information? Yes. To maintain more power, these AI models are important these days. Am I right or am I wrong? Petrol was the gold in the 20th century. Now, information is the gold. Am I right or am I wrong? The more you access to information, the more you can control the power narrative in this world. Considerations of people. All of you following me? Did you understand? They might not ask you a question directly on essence of ethics. What do you understand by essence of ethics? They might not. But using that concept, they can connect it with some other issue. We need to be ready. I'll talk about the weapon industries in another chapter, ethics in IR. I'll talk about the AI and the things associated with it during applied ethics. But as of now, did you understand this human interface essence of ethics? All right. Yes, come back to this. Look into this one. Ethics and human interface. What does ethics and human interface talk about? The study of how ethical values, principles influence human thoughts, emotions, decisions and behavior in personal, social and professional life when you interact with the larger world. I'll give you notes of all of these things, not to worry. All right? Come back. Look into this. What is essence of ethics? The first one, ethics we'll come to that later. Essence of ethics, what does it want you to do? It wants you to think right, speak right, and also act right. That's one thing. Now this essence of ethics, it comes into picture when there are human actions involved. Now what are these human actions? Look into this parameter. Look into this one. I will call a certain event as human action if provided the person, the moral agent doing that has the right knowledge. He is doing it because he wants to. There is no force, pressure. Am I making my point clear? And look at that one, there is free will. Imagine someone is sitting here, I have a gun to his head and I tell him to chant certain things. Do you think that person has free will or do you think he is in pressure? Pressure. In those situations where there is knowledge, what is right and wrong. Imagine a small kid, maybe 1.5 years old, it comes up to you and it slaps you. You can't slap it back, even though you want to. You can't slap it back because the kid does not have an idea of what is right and what is wrong. The knowledge is missing. Am I making my point clear? Ethics in human actions, what are those human actions? Human actions are those actions where voluntariness is involved, where knowledge is involved and where there is free will, there is no pressure. All of you following me? Choice is involved. Most of the times, whatever actions we take up in our life, is there knowledge of it? Is there voluntariness in it? Is there free will in it? Or are we pressurized to do things? Pressurized. Am I right or am I wrong? For example, we have a saying in this country, a person takes up engineering and then tries to ask themselves why they took up engineering. Why is it that we take up engineering in our world? Because Our parents force us to do that. Am I right or am I wrong? Imagine there is a kid. That kid has stolen a loaf of bread from a store. The reason why he has stolen that loaf of bread from the store is because he is very hungry. He has not eaten since last 10 days. Am I making my point clear? Now, can I judge him, or his action were brought about by pressure? Pressure, am I making my point clear? Like this. Imagine I use my powers and coerce madam who is sitting here to sign on a file. Imagine I use my emotional skills to manipulate him to sign on a file. Even here, they don't have 100% free will. Coercion means what? Either my way or if you don't sign on this file, what will I do? Fire you. That is coercion. Undue influence. In undue influence, I will talk with Hitendra here in an emotional way. I know Hitendra. I know what makes him do certain activities. I'll tell to Hitendra, I know you come from a middle class family. I was also like you. But I started to come and work on Saturdays and Sundays. The bosses took notice of that particular thing and they started to give me more opportunities. I utilized all those opportunities. I forgot my personal life for a few years. That is why I am your boss as of now. So tomorrow, Hitendra, I know it is a weekend, but I want you to come and work. And I hope you do it. Is this direct coercion, a very visible coercion, or is this an indirect emotional coercion? What do you think? That is undue influence. When we were young, I keep telling this in our OGP classes, when we were young, our parents, they used to exert on us what type of thing? Coercion or undue influence? Hey, coercion, kerlilla andre kaan ke niche ek. Am I making my point clear? It was purely coercion. As and when you grow up, they keep repeating the statements to you. If you have stayed in UPSC for more than 1 year, till how many years should we take care of you? Undue influence. They want their sons and daughters to take up a job as soon as possible. They can't tell it directly because they're afraid they might prick your ego. They might hurt your ego. So undue influence. Am I making my point clear? Simple enough. In one UPSC PYQ, they have asked a very simple question. What is the difference between coercion and undue influence? Coercion is more visible. Undue influence is more. Where do you think there is more emotional manipulation? Is it there in your coercion or is it there in undue influence? Undue influence. Am I making my point clear? So come back. Listen to me. In essence of ethics, we want to lead a good life. Now we judge certain actions as right actions. We judge certain intentions as good intentions, provided that free will is there. Provided that knowledge is there, provided there is voluntariness in the action of a person. Am I making my point clear? Come back. Listen to me. There are other aspects of this which I will explain later. Don't worry about the other things. Just look at the other one. What is the ultimate purpose of ethics? To promote individual character and virtue, to ensure harmonious social coexistence. All of these arguments at the end of the day, they help us to set up what type of life? Good life or bad life? Alright? For the purpose of this, for this time, that much is enough. Come back. Did you understand this? What we will do as of now is, I'll give you some dictation, write it down, and then I will discuss the other remaining topics in this chapter. All of you are following me? Write few things down. Come on. Start writing. Ethics originates from the Greek term ethos, which can mean hyphen character, custom, comma, way of life and habits. Semicolon. These parameters tries to provide us a direction to lead a good life, to lead a good life. Below that, one more definition. Ethics or moral philosophy is that branch of philosophy that tries to systematically study as to what makes an action right or wrong, and what it means to live a good life, Third one, as per Peter Singer, hyphen, open inverted commas, ethics is about how we ought to live and act, One more. As per Ayn Rand, AYNRAND, as per Ayn Rand, comma, open inverted commas, ethics is a set of values and moral principles that help us in making the right choices and choosing the right actions semicolon, the choices and actions, semicolon, the choices and actions that determine the purpose, and course of our human life, Last one. Ethics is often compared to a lighthouse. Tamam. Because just like a lighthouse, ethics also indicates, because just like a lighthouse, ethics also indicates the right direction, Below this, write down a quote. Ethics is the absolute reverence for life. Ethics is the absolute reverence for life. Ethics is the absolute reverence for life. This quote was given by Albert Schweitzer. Albert, Albert, Schweitzer, Schweitzer. Ethics is absolute reverence for life. Write down one more quote. The pursuit of ethics is to achieve the inner sense of perfection. The pursuit of ethics is to achieve the inner sense of perfection. Hyphen. Again, it was given by Albert Schweitzer. Albert Schweitzer. All right. Next, give the heading, Ethics and Human Interface. Ethics and Human Interface. Ethics and Human Interface. Below that, it refers to the interaction, between ethical principles and human behavior in personal, social and professional life. Stop. It studies how ethical values guide human actions and decisions in everyday life. For example, a civil servant who treats citizens with empathy, fairness and respect while delivering public services demonstrates the ethics human, demonstrates the ethics human interface, ethics human interface. All right. Next. Give the heading, essence of ethics. The essence of ethics, right, in terms of paragraph, refers to its core identity, comma, its fundamental nature, and the foundational elements, that make it what it is, Stop. Simply speaking, come on. The essence of ethics is the conscious evaluation, of human conduct, to determine what is right, fair and just. All right. The core aspects of this includes first one, ethics only applies to the actions performed by human beings who showcase free will, knowledge and voluntariness. Second point, the primary essence of ethics is prescriptive in nature, within the bracket. How to lead a good life, Third point, the core essence of ethics, remains anchored to universal values, like honesty, empathy, and justice. Come on. Its application, however, can be dynamic, Next point. The ethical quality is determined by some essential elements, like open the bracket, refer determinants of ethics section, refer determinants of ethics section, close the bracket. Write down few notes. First one, ethics is not religion. It's not religion. Though religion might have some ethical elements. Second one, ethics is not law. Come on. Though law might be inspired by ethical considerations. All right. Next, give the heading. Determinants of ethics. Okay. All right. Now listen to me. So in this essence of ethics, I told you, the ethical quality of any action or any object is determined by some factors. Determinants means what? Factors. Imagine there is water. I start to boil it. The temperature increases. And at what temperature does the water start to boil? 100 degrees Celsius. That 100 degrees Celsius is the determining factor as to when the water starts to boil. Am I right? All of you. What is the melting point of water? Pakana? Okay, listen to me. Come back. Ethics na helkodada, science bada ivaga nanige. Basic science iskondro. All right. Sometimes what happens as a UPSC aspirant, you are so much more interested in the broader aspects of life. You forget the core, simple, minimalistic and commonsensical aspects. Be that as it may, please come back and listen to me. Determinants of ethics means the factors that give rise to ethics. Am I making my point clear? That give rise to ethics. Now, some of them can be societal determinants. For example, listen to me, determinants of factor, how ethical we are. Listen to me. How ethical is our act. Now, for both of these two questions, do you think I will be answering just like that, or will I keep some factors and parameters in my mind? What do you think? I'll keep some parameters in my mind. One more example. Do you remember Prithviraj Chauhan? Now, what did Prithviraj, who did he fight? Muhammad, Ghazni or Ghori? Ghori. How many battles? First battle of Charin, who won? Mr. Chauhan. Second battle? Muhammad. Now, there are some students of mine who criticize Prithviraj Chauhan. Why do they criticize him? When he defeated Mr. Muhammad Ghori, he should have killed Muhammad Ghori rather than allowing him to escape. That is why they criticize Prithviraj Chauhan. Am I right or am I wrong? But the fact of the matter is this. Back in 1191, when Battle of Tarin happened, was it the Kshatriya Dharma to kill an enemy who was retreating? Was it a Kshatriya Dharma? It was not accepted. Now, when my students are judging Prithviraj Chauhan, they're determining the rightness or wrongness of his action, not based on the present standards. They're judging him based on the present standards, not based on what was existent in 1191 CE. Am I right or am I wrong? So, when you understand, when you try to determine the ethical quality of my action, ethical quality of my teaching, or whatever it might be, there are some factors you're keeping in mind. We want you to consciously understand these factors. Most of the time, what happens, you will be taking a decision that something is good or bad, something is right or wrong, you will take a decision. But what happens in your head? What are the factors that make you choose whether this is right or wrong, good or bad? That conscious understanding of those factors are not there. That is why we have to be careful. Am I making my point clear? All of you. When you saw the comedy stand-up which got into controversy, instinctively your mind told that it was right or wrong, good or bad. Am I right or am I wrong? What were the factors, what were the determining factors which made you to choose that evaluation? That is what we will be discussing in this small concept. Am I making my point clear? All of you, listen to me, listen to me, listen to me. Have you heard of a guy called as Robin Hood? Now, Robin Hood, he wanted to help people. But how did he choose to help people? By stealing from rich people and then giving it to poor. Now you have to determine whether Robin Hood is good or bad. What will your answer be? Sorry? Go ahead, madam. I heard your voice, I guess. Based on the factors? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. So there are some 5 factors which we can use to analyze your Robin Hood. What are those 5 factors? This is what it is that you have to remember. First one is intention. First one is what? Intention. So what was the intention of Robin Hood here? To help people. Was it a right intention or wrong intention? Whether it was good or bad? Good, right? So fine. From this parameter, Robin Hood was good. He wanted to help poor people. The intention was good. But look at the nature of object he uses. Look at the tool that he uses. The way he wanted to help poor people was by through honest means or by stealing. By stealing. Stealing in itself, the nature of stealing, is it something positive or is it something negative? Yes. So he might have had a good intention, but the action that he chose, the object that he chose to help people, was it right or wrong? Like this, you're supposed to arrive at a decision. All of you are following me? When you go to interview, they give you some circumstantial question and they ask you, what is your opinion in this regard? Don't be emotional and give your answer just like that. You should be able to think on all of these factors and then answer. The intention of Robin Hood to help people was good, sir, but the action that he chose, the object that he chose in the form of stealing was wrong. Because stealing is inherently wrong. Am I making my point clear? All of you, two factors are given you. There are few more factors. Look at the third factor. The third factor is circumstance. The third factor is what? Circumstance. Listen to me. Have you heard of a guy called as Tiruvallavar? Now Tiruvallavar, he very famously said, falsehood can take the place of honesty if it leads to unblemished common good. Carefully listen. Falsehood can take the place of honesty if it results in what? Unblemished common good. Let me give you a situation. Second wave of COVID is going on. People are dying on a much larger scale. Now the government, it is quite afraid if I release the right numbers, the factual numbers, the people might get tense, the people might panic, and they might overwhelm the health system, which is already overburdened. So what they did, they held back on some numbers. Let us say they did that. They really did do that, but understanding my point. So here they were going the route of falsehood, am I right? Falsehood can take the place of honesty, provided it results in what? Unblemished, unquestioned, common good, greater good. The reason they might have gone with some dishonesty might be justified based on the circumstance of second wave COVID. Because second wave COVID, was it a normal situation or was it an exceptional situation? Exceptional situation. Am I making my point clear? Like this. So when you analyze, when you try to determine whether a person's personality, whether a person's action is right or wrong, you have to take into consideration the circumstances as well. The famous example that people usually give, a small kid stealing a loaf of bread because he has not eaten the last 4 or 5 days or 10 days, whatever it might be, you have to understand the circumstance of that person because that person was very hungry. Am I making my point clear? So there are factors that you need to keep in mind before you can determine the ethical validity of any action or any character of a person. These are three. There is one more. Imagine you're determining the ethical validity of any action. Will you validate those actions where someone has pressurized him, where someone has no knowledge of what is right and wrong, or will you validate deliberate human actions? What do you think? Three factors I've told you. What is the fourth factor? Deliberate human conduct. So any individual, any moral agent who takes a decision, he must have taken a decision because he was given the voluntary powers. He must have taken the decision having the knowledge of what is right and wrong. He must have taken a decision based on his own free will, no pressure of any sort. That is the factor. All of you are following me? Artha agtide tane? Am I making my point clear? Imagine someone has kidnapped your son or daughter and they tell your father or mother to go and kill someone. And they have done that killing, they have done that murder, let us say. The intention, the circumstance, all right. What was the other factor that I taught you? The nature of object. You can keep all of these things in mind. You should also keep deliberate human conduct. Your parents are generally not murderers, but since their son or daughter was kidnapped, am I making my point clear? Since they were pressurized, they took that extreme step even though they did not like it. Deliberate human conduct. Am I making my point clear? I might give you a case study like this. The case study is this. Imagine an IAS officer. Today is what? Monday. So on this Monday, he has taken whatever information he has at his disposal this Monday. And he has taken a decision. But fast forward to Thursday or Friday, he gets some more new information and then he understands instead of taking this option A, he might have taken option B. If he had taken option B, it would have saved more money. So madam files an RTI application, madam files a case against me, let us say, this officer is corrupt. Instead of choosing option A, he should have chosen option B. Now imagine I am the adjudicating authority. What will I do? Will I say that the IAS officer was a good person or a bad person, or whether he was right and wrong? What will I say the IAS officer was? He took the decision based on the information he had. Did he have any intention to get corrupted? No, like this. Based on the information, new information I got on Thursday, then another option was available, but I had to take decision on that Monday only. There was no option for me to wait. So as an adjudicating authority, I will keep all of these parameters in mind. The nature of object, the intention, the circumstance. Did anyone force him to act in the way he did? Based on that, I take decision. Am I making my point clear? So 4 factors I've told you. The last factor is consequences. What does consequent mean? Is it input process or is it output? Consequences. If whatever action I have taken, it leads to the greatest happiness of the greatest number, then you might consider that your action is ethically valid. Am I making my point clear? If whatever action I have taken, it leads to the greatest happiness of the greatest number, then such an action is considered as what? The right action. Am I making my point clear? So in totality, how many determinants of ethics do we have? 5. In some books, they would have given 3. I am giving you 5. Am I making my point clear? These are what we call as situational determinants. I might have the knowledge of what is good and bad. I might have the knowledge of what is right and wrong. But does it mean that in each and every situational circumstance, I'll take the right action? Not necessarily, right? Not necessarily. You already know what is right and wrong. But when the situation confronts you, do you usually end up taking the right action, or do you just stay silent and neutral? Silent and neutral, am I right? Most of you say stay silent and neutral. Some of you might take even wrong actions only. Why is it that you don't walk the path of righteousness at that point in time? Because of situational determinants. If you go to a protest in Freedom Park against some KPSC or whatever organization it might be, there might be a case which might be filed against you, and if there is a case filed against you, you can't give government examinations. These are the things that you keep in mind and then choose whether to go and protest. Am I right or am I wrong? You want to protest, the intention is there to protest, but the circumstance, the consequence is preventing you. Am I making my point clear? As simple as this. This is situational determinants, and then you have something called as societal determinants. What is societal determinants? Very simple. Imagine a kid growing up in a family, and in that family they have taught the kid that he has to work hard throughout his life. The kid is growing up, and that kid who has grown up now, imagine there are 2 students in front of him. Both of the students are very talented, but only one of the students works hard. Who do you think the teacher will prefer, the hard-working student or the other student? Hard-working. So I have grown up in a family where they have taught me perseverance. I have grown up in my family where they have taught me certain attitudes. I have grown up in my family where they have taught me encourage certain emotions. I will use these societal determinants to determine the ethical validity of any action, the ethical personality of any individual. Am I making my point clear? All of you. I can give you an example. Let us talk about Virat Kohli. Now, Virat Kohli, when he was growing up, he grew up in a Delhi. He was going to clubs, cricket clubs, where the children who used to come and play in the cricket club, their fathers were big politicians. Their fathers were big officers. So in that particular ecosystem, imagine your Virat Kohli, very silent, introvert type of an individual. Do you think he would have been able to make such a mark in cricket? So he had to be aggressive. Was a societal determinant. Am I making my point clear? Because of that particular type of upbringing, because of that aggressiveness, he became the player who he is as of now. Am I making my point clear? Imagine your parents have taught you love, care and compassion. Am I making my point clear? The same societal determinant you might use to judge another person if he doesn't have enough love, care and compassion in his action, in his intentions. If he has not showcased these values in his circumstances, I say Hitendra is a bad person. Am I making my point clear? Most of the times, are we keeping societal determinants in mind and then take a decision, or is it situational determinants? Most of the times, you tell me honestly, situational determinants. Am I right? Societal, you don't take. Okay. Remember, most of the times, it's not the situational determinants that we people keep in mind. It is societal determinants. Whatever parents have taught us, from that point of view, from that prism, we take a decision. Whatever teachers have taught us, from that prism, we take a decision. Am I right? Along with this, we also need to keep in mind what? Situational determinants. Both of them matters. Did you understand this? In some UPSC standard books, some textbooks, what they have given, determinants of ethics, they have mentioned how your parents, how your teachers, how your educational institutions, media, everything, they teach you ethics. They teach you what is right and wrong. All right. So here they have written about societal determinants. But determinants of ethics, they demand societal as well as situational. How many parameters are there in situational? 5 parameters are there. Keep that in mind. All of you following me? Now open your 2023 paper, I guess. 2023 paper. I might be wrong. Let's see. 2023 paper. Okay. 2023 paper. Now look at the case study part. Look at the case study part. Do you find a case study related to a bank manager here? In 2023, do you find a case study related to a bank manager? Yes or no? Yes? What is the number of that question, sir? 6th or 7th? 7th, is it? Look at that 7th case study. Read that 7th case study. Read that 7th case study. I think it is a short one. Read it. Read it. Here, what has the bank manager done? He has helped one of his colleagues. Am I right or am I wrong? There are 3 major characters here. One is bank manager, another one is, let us say, colleague A. Now, colleague A, father, was he doing well or was he ill? He required some operation. And for that operation, some amount of money was required. So this colleague A, she went to another colleague of hers, colleague B, and asked for that money, but colleague B did not have that money. After a few days, when colleague B meets colleague A and asks about her father, she said, I was able to go ahead and get the operation done for my father. Well, now when the colleague B asks, how did you arrange for the money? Colleague A very discreetly tells her that our bank manager, he took some money from a dormant account. Dormant means what? Active or inactive? Inactive account, and then he gave the money to me. I've already started to repay that money back. So what the bank manager has done in terms of intention, helping the person, colleague A, was it right or wrong? The intention was right, to help. But what was the nature of object that he used? It was stealing. So that was wrong. Look at the consequence. Imagine the colleague B is silent. She does not say anything. And this help that bank manager has done to colleague A, some or the other way, gets leaked into the public. What will be the consequence of that? If you have kept money in that bank, will you be trusting the bank or will you want to retrieve all the money there? The consequences for the bank can be disastrous. Am I making my point clear? I can understand the circumstance. It was very exceptional. The colleague A's father required an urgent surgery. But was this the best possible choice the bank manager had? That is what you're supposed to ask. Am I making my point clear? All of you. Yes. So they're giving you these type of questions regularly in ethics section B. Not at all a problem. When it comes to your prelims these days, they're giving you questions like this. All right. So you need to be careful. When you analyze a case study, how to analyze a case study, not emotionally. You need to analyze case study in a rational manner. Am I making my point clear? Did you understand determinants of ethics, all of you? And you need to apply it to wherever it is happening. For example, now this might look controversial, but nevertheless, I still want to have a discussion on this. Bulldozer justice. Have you heard of this bulldozer justice? Where is it famous? In UP, they tried bulldozer justice in Jammu and Kashmir. They're trying bulldozer justice even in West Bengal these days. What is your opinion on this regard? How will you determine the bulldozer justice, whether it is right or wrong? What has the Supreme Court said about bulldozer justice? Don't worry, na. Don't worry. Let us say bulldozer justice is wrong. But you need to find the proper parameters to say that it is wrong. The nature of object that they're using to impose justice, is that right or wrong? Am I making my point clear? I remember a case happened in J&K. There was a house. In that house, there was one person who had joined terrorism. Now you punish this guy. I have no problem with it whatsoever. What the local authorities did was, they took bulldozers and they razed his entire house, which had other family members. The local authorities thought by razing the house, by demolishing the house, the rate of terrorism, people joining terrorism in J&K will reduce. Do you think there is a definite possibility that it will reduce, or the counter might also happen? That is the thing. The intention to reduce terrorism might be right. But the way they did it, the nature of object that they used was not right. Am I making my point clear? Now I'm going to ask you even more controversial. Couple of months ago, our Prime Minister, during the election period, I think elections were happening in quite a few states at that point in time. West Bengal, do you remember all these states? Elections were happening in all of these states. Our Prime Minister goes in front of the camera and he criticizes the opposition members for defeating the women reservation bill, something like this. Do you remember that? Yes. There was a case which was filed with Election Commission of India as well. Now, whether it is right or wrong, you have to determine. Imagine you are the adjudicating authority. Should you give any special preference to Mr. Modi just because he is the Prime Minister of this country, or should you adjudicate in a non-partisan, in a moral manner? What do you think? Non-partisan and moral manner. Whether you like what PM Modi did or wrong, that is right or wrong, that's up to you. I'm not going to comment on it as of now. But what I'm trying to convey to you is this. Whatever you read in ethics, don't keep it just for your book's sake or for your immediate exam sake. Try to apply it to what is happening in and around you. In and around you. Naxalism, Maoism, this is what you will study in your GS paper 3. Am I right or am I wrong? Do you think everyone who became a Naxalite, everyone who became a Maoist wanted to be a Naxalite when they were growing up? No, some circumstances might have pushed them in that direction. They might have been radicalized by some people. You should punish such people. I'm not saying no. But how much you should punish them, that is where your wisdom comes into picture. Did you understand? Someone might have no knowledge of what is right and wrong. They might be radicalized. They might be made into a Naxalite. You need to punish such people. I'm not denying it, but how much you're going to punish them, the quantum of punishment, that is where your determinants of ethics comes into picture. Am I making my point clear? All of you, did you understand this? Whatever I've discussed so far, ethics and human interface, essence of ethics, all of you following me? Now, determinants of ethics, directly questions will not be asked in section A. Indirectly, many questions will be asked in your section B. All right. Whatever topics I will be discussing henceforth, consequences of ethics and human action, dimensions of ethics and human actions, Regularly there will be questions. Regularly. I'll be taking PYQs and I will be discussing how your intro body conclusion should be. What are the various strategies for introduction? That also I'll be teaching you from the next topic. All of you following me? Write down the notes for this chapter, this sub-theme. Give the heading determinants of ethics. Start writing. The determinants of ethics. The determinants of ethics are the foundational factors, comma, sources. The determinants of ethics are the foundational factors, comma, sources, and forces, F-O-R-C-E-S, forces that shape, comma, influence, and define the ethical standards of an individual, or a society, Full stop. They explain why we consider certain actions as right or wrong. Next para. These determinants can be broadly categorized into external / societal determinants, within the bracket source of ethics, close the bracket, and situational determinants, All right. So next give the heading situational determinants. First one, the moral agent must have performed the action in a deliberate manner, within the bracket. Now, knowledge, comma, voluntariness, and free will, Second, an action is generally considered right if it leads to greatest happiness of the greatest number Greatest happiness of the greatest number within the bracket. Teleological view. Teleological view. Teleological view. I'll tell you what is teleological a little bit later. Below that, third point, the intention or the motive or the purpose behind the action is also important. Behind the action is also important. It's wrong. A good act with a bad motive, compromises the ethical value of an action within the bracket. Example, donating money or being charitable only for publicity purposes. Only for publicity purposes. Next one. Nature of object. Hyphen. The inherent nature of the action itself is used to determine the ethical validity of an action. Stop. Some acts are fundamentally wrong. On their face. Come on. Regardless of why they are done. Example, stealing the money from the rich to give to poor people, might have a good intention behind it, But stealing in itself is wrong. Last one. The circumstance hyphen. Circumstance can turn a bad act into a necessity. or a good act into an inappropriate one, one. Example, stealing a loaf of bread, to save a starving child, during a famine, alters the ethical weight, compared to stealing a luxury watch, out of greed, out of greed. Okay. Okay. Come back. Write down the next heading. Consequences of ethics. In human actions. Consequences of ethics in human actions. Okay. Look into this, all of you. So you told me, consequences basically means what? Is it input, process, or is it output? Now I tell madam that she has to be ethical in life. What is the counter question she is going to ask me? Why should I be ethical, sir? What purpose will it serve me to be ethical? What good will I get if I am ethical? Am I right or am I wrong? That is what is consequences of ethics. Why should you be ethical in your personal life? Why should you be ethical in your professional life? They might ask you questions on these parameters, and they have already asked so many questions here. Look into this. First one, explain how ethics contributes to social and human well-being. Have they used terms like growth and development in the question, or have they used terms like well-being? Well-being, do you think is much more smaller than growth and development, or is it much broader? It is much broader, because in well-being, we don't consider only the quantitative aspects, but also qualitative. India is one of the fastest growing economies in the world. Am I right? But if I go and ask people, are you having that feeling of well-being in this country? Many of them will say no. Why? Because we might feel we don't have enough freedom to air our opinions. We might feel that we don't have enough amount of justice to lead a dignified life. We feel that there is not enough unity in the country as it was there at one point in time. Am I right or am I wrong? We feel as if there is missing of basic necessities like roti, kapda, makan, which is reducing the quantum of well-being. Am I right or am I wrong? Like this. If you ask people how well they are feeling, many of them will say not so good, because they might be silently suffering from anxiety, depression, any other sort of mental suffering. Am I right or am I wrong? Howsoever, when you are ethical, be it in your individual domain, be it in the social domain, be it in the professional domain, you are going to achieve that well-being. Aristotle very famously writes in his Nicomachean Ethics, well-being means having the ability to enjoy eudaimonic happiness. What is eudaimonic happiness? In my life, I have purpose. In my life, I have a meaning. In my life, I have strong character. Because of this purpose, because of this meaning, because of this character, I have eudaimonic happiness. That is well-being. Am I making my point clear? Why am I teaching you these terms? Tomorrow when you go and they ask you some question, why should you be ethical in your life? Let us say they ask you a question. You can write a very simple introduction directly. Ethics is believed to contribute. largely to increase the quantum of well-being in the society. Can I write like that? More than enough. Many of you have done your foundation courses. Many of you might have done, or you might have looked at the toppers' answers as well. Am I right? And in the toppers' answers, do they write very, very long introduction, or is it straightforward and simple? Straightforward and simple. This is what you're supposed to keep in mind. Now, I remember very famously, this guy, he gave a quote. The quote is like this: you have control over the choices you make, but you have no control over the consequences. Am I making my point clear? Let us say in front of you there is option A, option B, option C, option D. You have the control in terms of which option you can choose. A, B, C or D you can choose. But the problem is what? Once you have chosen option A, can you control the consequences, or the consequences cannot be controlled? It can't be controlled, right? See, you have the option when someone is getting on your nerves. You have the option of scolding them. Or you also don't have the option of scolding them. Am I right or am I wrong? Imagine you start scolding them left, right and center. How the person is going to view you, how the person is going to perceive you, that is no longer in your control. You guys agree with me? ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ ತಾನೆ? Whomsoever is sitting here, I firmly believe that there is power in your life. Power to alter the course of your future. Power to choose your choices. If you exercise this power using ethical considerations, the consequences will be positive. If you use the power and choose the choices which are not based on ethical considerations, the consequences will be negative. You guys agree with me? So imagine I have been given questions like this. Explain how ethics contributes to social and human well-being. How is it that some people write introduction for it? They define what is ethics. If not ethics, what is the other term that they define? Well-being. I came across a framework which I would have shared with you in your essay classes. In case if you have forgotten, there are some thinkers who believe a person having a well-being state, a state of well-being would meet 5 parameters. The person will have spiritual well-being. The person will have physical well-being. The person will have intellectual well-being. The person will have relational well-being, and the person will have emotional well-being. Only if all of these 5 parameters are met, then I will say this individual has that state of well-being in his life. Now if I read Greek philosophers, especially your Stoicism, the Greek philosophers believe a state of well-being is when there is tranquility in your mind. They call this tranquility as ataraxia. What do they call this tranquility in your mind as? Ataraxia. What is tranquility? The calmness, the peacefulness that you have in your mind. That is tranquility. So imagine I am writing an answer to this question. I have a choice of writing the definition of ethics. I have a choice of writing the definition of well-being. Usually, a state of well-being is considered by Greek philosophers as having ataraxia, within the bracket, tranquility in mind. Will it be a reasonable one? Am I making my point clear? Or else you can give the code that I told you. You can give your introduction, first one through definition. You can give your code. Sorry, in your introduction you can give a code. You have control over your choices but not your consequences. So we must exercise caution in our choices so that consequences will be positive. Reasonable enough. Or else you can give any opinion of a thinker or a philosopher also. Am I making my point clear? Somewhere in the notes prior to this, I made you write, Albert Schweitzer believed the pursuit of ethics is to realize what? Inner sense of perfection. So imagine I am an individual, I am being ethical both in my personal life and in my professional life. What will be the consequence of that? Perfection both in my personal as well as professional life. Am I making my point clear? Like this. This is what you are supposed to write. Did you understand? So when you write your introduction, why is it that some students, they score more than 120, 140s as well? Their introductions are diverse. In some introductions, they would have defined the keywords. In some introductions, they would have given some appropriate quotes. In some introduction, they would have given some appropriate thinker. 3 diverse introduction methods. The 4th diverse introduction method is this. They might give you some current affairs event. What they might have given you? So imagine Global Happiness Index report has been released. And no matter which Global Happiness Index report you take, India performs very well in that, or is it non-satisfactory? Right. The recent Global Happiness Index report suggests that India is not happy. India does not see, Indians don't have that state of well-being. Hyphen, ethics can change this reality. Am I making my point clear? So the 4th way of starting your introduction is by giving some current affairs event. Am I making my point clear? This is also easy. It's not difficult. This is also easy. First one is definition. Second one is quote. Third one is some thinker. 4th one is some current affairs event. The 5th one, listen to me. The 5th one, ask yourself a simple question. From which syllabus topic have they asked this question? Explain how ethics contributes to social and human well-being. What is the syllabus topic? Consequences of ethics in human actions. Listen to me. Listen to my introduction. A moral agent has power. When this power is exercised through proper moral considerations, he can achieve a state of nirvana. Can you say that? Is anyone saying that you should not write nirvana? What is nirvana? Going and sitting under a bodhi tree and chanting Buddham Sharanam Gacchami only. Nirvana can be wisdom. Nirvana can be happiness. Nirvana can be peace, content, whatever you want to write. I can write like this, right? The 5th method to write your introduction is by trying to understand from which syllabus topic it is from and capturing the soul of that syllabus topic in your introduction itself. All of you following me? In your introduction itself. And based on this consequences of ethics in human actions, they have asked questions like, explain how ethics contributes to social and human well-being. Look at the second one. What does ethics seek to promote in human life? First and second question, are they entirely different or are they similar? Quite similar. Look at the other one. Why is it all more important in where? Public administration. I told you, ethics, be it in individual domain or even in your professional domain, it is very important. Look at this one. The current society is plagued with widespread trust deficit. What are the consequences of this situation for personal well-being? Imagine I am exercising my choices not in a moral way but rather in an immoral way. What will be the consequences of that? Positive or negative? Negative. What is the negative thing? Will there be very high trust in the society or trust deficit? That is what they are asking. What can you do at the personal level to make yourself more trustworthy? I'll discuss answer for all of these questions, not a problem. But I want you to identify the underlying pattern. All of these questions are from this sub-theme. Usually in your mains, directly questions will come in section A from consequences of ethics in human action. If not that, dimension of ethics in human action. So far, some 14 to 17 questions have been asked so far. Indirectly, questions can come from essence of ethics, determinants of ethics, ethics and human interface in your section B. Did you understand? Look into the next question, please. Come back, come back. It is believed that adherence to ethics in human actions would ensure in smooth functioning of an organization / system. Again, is this something of a different question or similar? If so, what does ethics seek to promote in human life? How do ethical values assist in the resolution of conflicts faced in his day-to-day functioning? This is a 2022 question. It has three demands in it. I'll discuss all of these 3 demands with you. All of you are following me? But before I start discussing each and every PYQ, I want you to have a general idea of consequences of ethics in human action. So listen to me. Consequences. So there are 5 levels to it. One is individual, another one is societal, another one is organizational, fourth one is national, fifth one is international. All right, fifth one is international. Which one are they referring to human well-being in? Which level do you think are they referring to human well-being? Individual. So when I say social well-being, when I say professional well-being, public administration, am I making my point clear? So imagine, all of you carefully listen, imagine I'm using values, imagine I'm using attitudes, right attitudes, imagine I'm using positive emotions. These are what I call as ethical considerations. Your UPSC likes to use this term, ethical considerations, very much. If you are going to write means this time around or next time, whenever it might be, right? Let us say you come across ethical considerations. Will you consider them in a broad way or will you try to simplify it? Simplify it like this. All of you are following me? So when I use ethical consideration to exercise choices in my life, what will be the consequence of it? Well-being. So imagine, at individual level, I exercise my ethical considerations to take decisions. What will be the outcomes, consequences at individual level? I will be happy. What is happy? Can anyone define what is happiness for me? Harsha, can you try? What is happiness? They've asked a question like this. What is happiness? Hey, what is angry? Not being angry. That won't work out. They have asked a question. I will be discussing that question later on. All human beings aspire for happiness. In your opinion, what does happiness mean to you? For me, happiness is a state of flourishing. Am I making my point clear? Happiness is a state of flourishing. What is this state of flourishing? What are the various parameters under it? I'll teach you. Imagine I have certain goals in my life. I want to be an IAS officer. I want to be an IPS. Right? Let us say I have goals like this. Imagine not only having this dream, I'm getting up each and every day, I'm working hard towards this dream. And when I achieve my dream, when I indeed become an IAS or an IPS officer, will I feel happy about it or will I feel sad about it? Happy, right? So when you have ethical considerations in your life and you use that ethical considerations in whatever activities you do, it might be your career. What will be the outcome of it? Happiness. Am I making my point clear? Imagine I'm interacting with each and everyone in the ethical, considerate manner. I'm showcasing values. I'm showcasing love, care, compassion, everything to you. Will you have high trust on me or will you have low trust on me? High trust, am I right? So at individual level, when I use ethics, what does it promote? It promotes happiness. At individual level, when I use ethics, how does it promote my well-being? It makes me a trustworthy person. And you have learned in your classes, PSIR, polity, anywhere, man is what type of an animal? A social animal. Am I making my point clear? Listen. Imagine I have ethics in me. Life is filled with challenges or no challenges at all. Challenges, right? Imagine I have values like perseverance. These values, they inculcate in me a high sense of self-belief. And because of this self-belief, do you think the challenges will run away or do you think I can tackle the challenges more confidently? Am I right or am I wrong? A person who has a strong value system need not necessarily worry about the challenges in his way. He'll find ways to overcome those challenges. Am I making my point clear? Imagine you're someone who has ethical considerations, values, attitudes, emotions in you, and you use that when you exercise choices in your action. Imagine when you're interacting with someone else, instead of using dishonesty, instead of using deception, you use honesty. You are being truthful. Will you have this guilt conscience for being wrong, for using falsehood then? Imagine there is a conversation between two individuals. You have a choice to be truthful with that individual or to be lying towards that individual. Since you use ethics, you are truthful. You won't have any guilt. On the other hand, you have lied to a person who trusts you. Will you have mental guilt or no mental guilt? You will have mental guilt. Am I right or am I wrong? That is what it is. You might have heard of something called as rumination. What is this rumination? It is constantly worrying about something in a loop. A person who has ethics need not suffer from this rumination way too much. Because he has stood for what is right. Because he has that confidence to overcome that loop of excessive worrying, excessive thinking. You guys agree with me? Yes. What does ethics seek to promote in human life? If I ask Hitendra what it is, he has to quickly answer, sir, ethics seeks to promote happiness. Ethics seeks to promote joy. Ethics seeks to promote gratitude. Ethics seeks to promote contentment. Ethics seeks to promote peace. Just in front of you, I think I've given you 5 arguments. Ethics promotes human well-being. How does it promote human well-being? You can use the same structure that I've told you as of now. Did you understand? All of you. Am I making sense? Keep that in mind. So this is ethics at individual level leading to positive consequences. Imagine ethics is there at a collective level. If their ethics is there at the collective, at the societal level, how will be the civic engagement? In India, the civic engagement, is it on the higher side or is it on the lower side? Lower side. Imagine everyone in India has this ethics. The civic engagement will be on the higher side. It will be strong. Am I making my point clear? This hatred, this communalism, this regionalism, which can become quite toxic at certain point in time, it won't be there. Am I making my point clear? Each and everyone in the society will start fighting for justice. All of you are understanding. I might be wrong, but in 2023 mains, there was a question in his essay paper. The question was this: a society which has more justice requires what? Less charity. Now, how do you think justice is going to come? Justice is going to come just because I've written that in my constitution? No. Justice is going to come in the society, provided when all the people sit in the society, they have the just mentality. Am I making my point clear? All of you, are you all understanding? Simple. Simple. When you have ethics at the societal level, there will be harmony. When you have ethics at the societal level, there will be less pain, there will be less suffering. Am I making my point clear? When you have ethics at the societal level, all these manual scavenging, all these Devadasi systems, all this caste-related discrimination that you see, it won't exist. It won't. But when ethics is not there, all of these things will do their Andava dance. That is what is happening in our society as of now. You guys agree with me? Yes. Now imagine ethics is there at an organizational level. I want you to raise your hand and answer here. How many of you have worked before coming here? Before joining UPSC coaching in any way, how many of you have worked? Okay. Sir, what's your name? Vivek. Where have you worked? You used to work with a textile company. Great. Now, the moment I say organization, Vivek, what are the various things that come in your mind? The reason I'm asking Vivek and everyone this question is this. I want you to have the ability to visualize. Imagine the moment I say organization, what will Vivek think? Tell me, Vivek. People. Can I try to just make a small change and I say people in the form of customers, people in the form of employees? Yes. So an organization will have its leader. An organization will have its customers. An organization will have its employees. An organization will have its own vision statement as well. Am I making my point clear? Now imagine there is ethics at the organizational level. If there is ethics at the organizational level, the vision that I have, will that vision only be based on making profit, or will that vision be there to not only make profit but uphold the welfare of the people, to uphold the welfare of the planet? What do you think? Only one or all three? Imagine there is ethics at the organizational level. A leader is showcasing that type of ethics. Will he be a source of inspiration for anyone, or will he not be a source of inspiration? Source of inspiration. Am I making my point clear? Imagine there is ethics at the organization level. The employees are taken care of by the management. The love, the care, the compassion, the justice, everything is showcased towards the employees. Do you think employees will be very loyal to them, or do you think the employees will leave them? What do you think? Loyal, am I right? Imagine I'm an organization, I'm taking care of you in every which way possible, I'm paying you money, I'm giving you social security. When the company goes through a tough time, will I leave you, or will you be loyal to me? That is what. Just by giving a high package, great perks, the employees are not going to stay. Employees will stay when they feel valued in life. You guys agree with me? When employees feel that the organization is just using them as a means for their selfish end to make profit, every employee will leave eventually. And for an organization, the capital for an organization is not just finances, it is its social capital. Imagine as ethics at the organization level, whenever I deal with the customers, I deal with them in a very careful manner. I showcase care. Even the smallest grievances they have, I address their grievances as soon as possible in a humane manner. What will happen to my customers? Will they stay with me, or will they choose another product? Stay with me. I don't have to spend unnecessary money on the marketing. Am I making my point clear? So I want you to have the ability to visualize. When I say individual, what does an individual want in life? Consequences. Visualize. When I say societal, visualize. When I say organizational, visualize. Imagine ethics is there at the national level. National level I'm talking about. Now I want you to visualize so that you have a template, so that you have a framework. See, you are going to sit in the class, I'm going to give you answers for all of these things. That's not a problem. The problem is your thinking. Imagine ethics is there at the national level. What will happen? What are some of the goals that is there in our constitution? Equality, liberty, fraternity, justice, they will become reality. What are some other goals that we have at the national level as of now? Sabka saath, sabka vikas, sabka vishwas, sabka prayas. That will also become a reality. Imagine there is respect for Indian made goods. We don't buy Western goods unnecessarily because we have respect towards our goods. Atmanirbhar Bharat will also be successful. Imagine I have ethics, I have values, where I'm showcasing courage, compassion and everything. Whatever Vikshit Bharat, Vishwa Guru, that our Prime Minister keeps talking about, that will also become a reality. Imagine the problems which are there in our organization, public administration. What are the problems that we have in public administration? You tell me. Corruption. If I'm honest, do you think corruption will be there in public administration? No. In public administration, another problem is arrogance. VVIP culture. IAS, IPS officers think that they're born to rule this country. But when I have humility, no matter I become IAS and IPS officer, will I be arrogant or will I be humble enough? Humble enough, like this. What are the other things that we have in public administration when officers deal with common people? Do they deal with them in a humane manner, compassionate manner, or do they deal with them in a very arrogant manner? You can bring this point as well. Am I making my point clear? In Indian public administration, what are the other issues? 3 issues I've given you. In terms of quality of services, in terms of utilization of funds, do we do it in a positive manner or is it negative? If there is ethics in public administration, all of these things will be sorted out. That's it. In Indian public administration, we have IAS, IPS officer or basic like yes sir, yes madam type of people. Am I right? But when you have courage, you're going to stand for what is right, no matter how much of political pressure someone is putting on you. In Indian public administration, IAS and IPS officers, are they supposed to work for any one political party, or are they supposed to be non-partisan, impartial? Non-partisan and impartial. This can only happen when you have the courage to stand for constitution. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ ತಾನೆ? Visualize. Am I making my point clear? If you just sit and start to buy it, whatever is there in the notes, you might not be able to score such high marks in your exams. So that is why I'm teaching you, visualize. The more work you give to your brain, the greater you're going to enjoy in your answers. The unique your answers will be. Now in my life, one thing that I want to have in my life is freedom. Because I feel when I have freedom to make my own choices, to choose my own actions, that is when I'll be happy. Do you think having ethics will promote a healthy sense of freedom in my life, or will it promote a sense of slavery? You tell me. It promotes a sense of freedom, am I right? Because I have the courage to stand up to any pressure which is being imposed on me by society, religion, family, whatever it might be. Am I making my point clear? And at international level, it is so very easy. When you look at the international level, what are the various problems we have? Climate change, global warming, wars. If ethics is there, how can we deal with all of the problems that we have in the society? You tell me. If ethics is there at the international level, how can we deal with all of these problems? Ethics promotes what? Peace or hatred? So war can be tackled. Ethics promotes what? Cooperation or selfishness? So this cooperation can be used to deal with your ozone layer depletion, with your Paris climate change targets, so many things like that. Am I right or am I wrong? If you look at India's actions at the international domain, especially in climate change, International Solar Alliance, Vaccine Maitri, all of these activities we have done because we were trying to give effect to ethics. We were being inspired by ethics. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ ತಾನೆ? If ethics is not there at any level, be it individual, societal, organizational, national and international, you will be nothing but a wild beast. You might have all the smartness in the world, but you will be like a wild beast who is going to destroy everything that he touches. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ ತಾನೆ? I want you to write answers not in a very complicated manner, simple manner. Have you heard of something called as a Midas touch? M-I-D-A-S, Midas touch. Golden touch, am I right? Now there was a guy called as Midas. He asked a boon from a god that whatever I touch should become gold. Now I'm using the same thing and I'm writing this. A person who is inspired by ethics will have the golden Midas touch to improve the existing realities. Am I making my point clear? And I'm pretty sure if 13,000 people are writing means that year, I'm pretty sure this one would have been written maybe by a few, not by everyone. Because this is not something that you will find in your regular chat GPT or some XYZ institution notes. This is original. This is unique. All of you following me? The more you read, the more you write, the more original you get. Did you understand the concept of consequences of ethics in human actions? I'm just going to discuss one question and then we will go ahead and have our lunches. All right, look at this question. Did you understand the concept of consequences of ethics? Look at this question. What does ethics seek to promote in human life? Why is it all the more important in public administration? This is what 10 marks. Will you write some 6-7 line introduction or will it be simple? Now what you can do, you can define the keywords there, that is ethics. You can try to give a quote about ethics. You can give some philosophical opinion about ethics. Or else you can also bring some current affairs related to ethics. And the last one that you can do is what? Capture the essence of the syllabus in your introduction. How to define ethics? I've already given you some 4 to 5 definitions. That's not a problem. Current affairs, look into this one. When a public clash between a minister and an IPS officer goes viral, it does more than trend. It exposes the fragile balance between political and permanent executive. Is authority a license for arrogance, or does real power lie in restraint? Our ethicist, if you read your Indian Express, quite often there are some articles on ethics. Am I right or am I wrong? Quite often. So recently what happened? There was a spat between a minister and an IPS officer. This went viral. This made us question various things. All of you following me? So listen to me, listen to me. Recently, a spat between an IPS officer and a minister made us question. Why? Made us analyze why ethics is all the more important to utilize power in a responsible manner for the collective good. Can I write like this? Here my introduction, was it very long or was it on the shorter, crisper side? That is what I want. If you go and open any topper's answers, their introductions are crisp. Most of the times when you as freshers are writing answers, it is on the longer side. That is not good. I can try to capture the essence of the syllabus for this question. When ethics guides us in our public administration, the public administration becomes just, inclusive, and promotes collective welfare. Can I write like this? Again, a very crisp introduction. This is what you're supposed to write. Am I making my point clear? Simple. Have you heard of an individual called as Gandhi? What were some of the dreams that Gandhi had? Ramarajya. When ethics becomes a reality in Indian public administration, the dream of Ramarajya, the rule of Dharma, becomes a reality. Like this you can write. Artha, all of you are following me? Simple. If you know any relevant code, you can use it in the introduction. I'm not saying no. In case if you don't know, there are other methodologies available. Your mind should not get addicted to only giving the definition of ethics everywhere. Your mind should adapt to different questions, and you should always push yourself to take half a mark extra from the evaluator. Or if you're following me, if you just attend the classes and by heart what is there, it's not going to help. Look at the next one. UPSC ethics simplified. What makes a civil servant ethical? Look at what they have given. What are the foundational values of civil services? Which cardinal values act as Kavach Kundal? Kavach Kundal, this is something that you might hear in your Ramayana or Mahabharata. Mahabharata, which guy had that Kavach Kundal? Karna, he had to give it away. Am I right or am I wrong? Kavach Kundal, protective armor, and how do they help fulfill the true purpose of public service? You have to develop the habit of reading, my dear friends. When ethics is used in public administration, it becomes like Kavach Kundal within the bracket, moral protective armor, close the bracket, using which we can give effect to our public service, using which we can achieve social justice, fulfill constitutional and national goals, something like this you can write. Am I making my point? I understand most of you might have prepared in your examination so far from a prelim point of view. Fine. Somehow I can understand that, but henceforth, you need to have an integrated approach in your life, not just preparing for prelims in a silo manner or mains in a silo manner, integrated. All of you following my point? In the last prelims paper, they have given a tight slap to each and everyone in the UPSC ecosystem, including us. A tight slap to us. You being addicted to class notes and some standard books in itself is not enough. Develop the habit of reading. All of you following me? Just in front of you, for this question, have I given you just one introduction or 5 possible introductions? 5 possible. At that moment, your mind should think the best possible introduction. That will only come when you practice. All of you following me? Why is ethics important in public administration? Look into this. What does ethics seek to promote in human life? Virtue and character. What are the various interpretations of ethos? Character. 1 point. What can be the other thing that I can write? What does ethics seek to promote in life? Virtue and character. What does ethics seek to promote in human life? Good habits. Can I write like that? Look at the other thing. Ethics seeks to promote human dignity and respect. If I have ethics in me, the other person who might be there in front of me might be an IAS officer, might be a municipal worker, immaterial of that. I will respect both of those individuals in the same manner. There will be dignity of labor. Am I making my point clear? What does ethics seek to promote in human life? Justice and fairness. Whatever moral standards I apply to judge someone else, the same moral standards I will be applying to my own life. And justice and fairness is not only your legal concept, it's not only a polity, it's more of a moral concept. All of you are following me? Imagine you're going inside the election booth, there are so many options in front of you. If you're voting based on religion, region, caste, sex, gender and all these parameters, are you being just? Are you being fair to the system? No. In case you have ethics, that is something that you're going to keep aside and analyze the situation objectively from a humane point of view, from a greater good point of view. Look at the other things. What does ethics seek to promote in your life? Trust. I gave you this. When you have ethics at the individual level, you showcase love, care, compassion, other values which makes you trustworthy in the eyes of others. Am I right? What does ethics seek to promote in your life? Human flourishing, eudaimonia, happiness. You can write like this. What does ethics seek to promote in public administration? I think I have given you certain points already. I need to give you examples. Imagine there is ethics in me. I've become an officer. Now some situation has come. I have to build a road, but there is not enough funds for me. Will I wait for the funds to be released by the government after 1 year, 2 years, or can I use some innovativeness and go for crowdsourcing? Crowdsourcing of funds. There was one IAS officer who went for crowdsourcing of funds like this. Can anyone tell me his name? Go ahead. Can anyone tell me the name of that IAS officer who crowdsourced funds and built a road? Armstrong Palmer, do you remember? Good. Another IAS officer. I might have shown you the video of this officer in my OGP classes, Dr. Roshna Jacob. Now she is famous for using compassion in her service. She is very famous amongst the people for the humane nature in which, in the way she deals with people. You can write that. Sagayam. Now Sagayam was an IAS officer who fought against the criminalization of politics. He fought for justice and fairness. He used to put up a board in the office. If someone asks you any money, you come and complain to me. No one should pay even a single rupee more than the government sanctioned amount. If someone is asking you for such corrupt money, you come and report to me like this. Am I making my point clear? I remember there is an officer called as Vivek. I think he's working in Maharashtra, I'm not sure. This IAS officer, what he did was, he observed that in the village areas, the students were dropping out more. He observed that the scientific quotient, the scientific aptitude of students was on the lower side. So what he did, he set up science parks. He set up this scientific experiments and everything in that particular village, and he got some teachers to monitor those science parks. Students came, students got inspired, students stayed back in the school. That extra effort, that passion, that motivation to be part of public administration, do you think it was something that he got by drinking some boost? Ethics. Am I making my point clear? Like this, you can think of n number of examples. You might have heard of a lady called as Kiran Bedi. What did Kiran Bedi do? If you remember, she towed the car which belonged to PM's convoy as well. Rule of law is same to everyone, including Prime Minister's convoy. That is courage. Am I right or am I wrong? When you see ethics question, it feels so very easy to see. But when you start putting pen on paper, does it become easier or does it become difficult? It becomes difficult. So introduction, how you are supposed to write, body with arguments as well as examples I've told you. The last thing which is remaining is what? Conclusion, am I right? Can you think of any measure, any policy taken by the government in the recent couple of years that we can write in the conclusion part? Have you heard of something called as Mission Karma Yogi? Mission Karma Yogi is a recent measure taken by the government to ensure public administration of India is done more on the ethical foundations. Hyphen, a right program for the present time. Something like this. Can I write? Simple. Did you understand? Write down. All right. Consequences of ethics in human actions. You've written that, right? So what we will do, we'll go for lunch and we'll come back by 3:30, guys. Okay? 3:30. Go ahead. I'll talk 3:30. Or else will you sit for one more hour? Lunch, nangu vattesithe. All right. Are you all understanding? Any doubts? Don't worry. There are some 200 plus questions that I've chosen. We are going to discuss each and every one of them. I'll make you write answers for all the PYQs as well. Go have your lunch. Thank you.